if, let's say, I have my entire team do this assessment, would you then coach us through how we can interact with each other better, how we can better our relationships and our work environment?
Sure, and I think that's the benefit of starting with these assessments, is knowing each other's assessments and where your preference lies. What we also offer is a group profile. So if there's a team that does all their profiles, you actually get an average score where you will see what the team's average is. You put that up against, your skills or your objectives, and you can see where you need to move towards. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining me today. My name is Gerry Nel, and I'm a leadership and a team coach. As you know, a lot of team coaches and coaches in general have a lot of tools and instruments and models which we work with as part of our coaching with clients. And I've been asked many times to talk about one of the tools that I use in my coaching, and that is the Neethling Brain Instruments. And Neethling Brain Instruments is based off a lot of research which has taken place by Dr. Kobus Neethling in the 1980s and is still taking place today. Why I find it important in my coaching is because it helps my clients to understand themselves and their thinking preferences, which is what it's all about, because it always starts with your thinking, doesn't it? So that's an important tool for me to use in my coaching and also independently with my clients. So we thought today we will take you through the process of understanding how it works and what the results look like. And today I've got Stephanie, who's going to join me in going through some of the questions which normally gets answered as part of this battery of assessments, and then just show you the results as well and talk around the results of these assessments, which will inform you a bit better. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Stephanie on my left-hand side here. Hi, Steph.
Thank you, Gerry. Let's get started.
All right, so let's start the questions, and hopefully you'll find it very interesting. I'm going to be asking Stephanie some questions, and there are preference questions which she needs to answer. And then, as I said, at the end of the questionnaire, we'll show you what the results look like, which should be interesting, and let's see what Stephanie's reaction also is on the results itself. So Stephanie, let's go to question 1 and work through the questions in order.
Okay.
So the question is, when I study, I prefer to obtain a general outline of the information, remember the facts, have a positive attitude about the work, or study according to a plan or a procedure. Which one would be your preference there?
So I have to number them 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, and 4 years. So your most preferable is 1, 2, 3, and 4 years.
So the first one you read again?
All right. When I study, I prefer to obtain a general outline of the information.
You can make that number 1
is
for
that
me.
Number 1? Perfect. Remember the facts. Have a positive attitude about the work. And study according to a plan or a procedure.
Okay. I think the second one you mentioned is my number 2.
All right. Let me repeat them. Have a positive attitude about the work. Study according to a plan or a procedure.
Yeah, so maybe make the other one number 3.
Okay. Which one would that be? That'd be the
guideline.
Plan or procedure.
Yeah, that one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 3.
And then the other one is automatically number 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 1 out of the way. So I prefer a person who is well organized, is realistic, is open-minded, or listens and pays attention to what I am saying.
Is realistic. It's number
Good.
1.
Yes.
Pays attention to
Good.
what I'm saying. Number
Yes.
2. I know the other one was organized. What was the last one?
Open-minded.
I think organized might be last.
Okay. Good. So, third question is, I prefer situations which are warm and relaxed, where everything is in its place, which are excited and different, or which forces me to think deeply.
Warm and relaxed is number 1.
Okay.
When you say exciting and different, I have a question. Does that mean out of my comfort zone, or?
Yeah, something that makes you feel excited and something that's different. Something that maybe inspires you, different environment that you're not used to, but it excites you.
Okay, that's not number 2.
Okay.
In its place is number 4, so the other one's number 3.
Okay. Next question. I prefer to complete an assignment, which I'm sure you've done many of, accurately number one, by discussing it with others, number two, quickly so that I can start doing something else, or systematically until it is completed.
I like discussing it with others. I like having a sounding board to get feedback from.
Okay. Would that be your first choice?
Yes, that's number one. Systematically is number four. I could say quickly.
Okay.
Number two. Then the other one is number three.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. And Stephanie has conducted her assessment, so well done with that, Stephanie. And it's always never a clear-cut yes or no answer. It takes a bit of thinking to go through the assessment questions, which Stephanie has bravely done, and come up with a result. So we thought let's share some of the results with the audience today, so you can get an idea of what the assessment results look like. So for Stephanie, who's willing to give us her results, it's quite straightforward that she's pretty high on the people profile. And on the people profile, very much an empathizer, which means that she got a high score for this. And it also means that if I look at the other domains, that Stephanie will always put people first. So this could be a good thing, and it could also be a challenge. But this is what her preference says. She got average for all the other three domains, which include thinking strategically, being an Imagineer, looking at factual data, doing analysis, and then systematic thinking and policies and procedures and traditions. So there was pretty much a mix of an average score on those. And what, as I said before, Stephanie will tend to put people first in any decisions work that she has to do in this domain. So I think that really concludes the assessment, but I'd really like to hand over to Stephanie, and we've had a discussion briefly before we came on camera, just shared her results with her, and would love to know what your feedback is, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you, Gerry, for doing this. I'm looking at the profile now. I also have a tablet with me. And it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. The results I'm seeing here it looks like I'm looking at myself on paper, which is pretty cool. I definitely am an empathizer. I can really agree with that. It irritates me sometimes how much I've always thought that something's wrong with me, that I want to put people before myself a lot of the time. And I think I do that too much. Socializing, that is actually quite low on my profile, but I think it's because I feel drained if I'm around people a lot.
Okay.
And yes, now I would love to hear, Gerry, from you. How can I use this to my advantage in a workplace?
No, good. And I think that's an important question. You know, it's good doing these assessments, but it's what do I do with the information now that I know about it? And the good thing about the Neertlingsbrain instruments is that you can use them in practice. And once again, there's no right or wrong answer. Say, this is who you are, this is who you naturally are. So, you know, if you have an average or a low scoring in a specific domain, doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means it's something that you take cognizance of and something that you can work with so that it helps you achieve your goals. All right. So you're very people orientated. And I think that comes along pretty strongly, which can be challenging. You know, if you're in a work environment and you're in a discussion or doing some task that decisions have to be made. The fact that you're thinking about how's that going to impact people all the time can be a good thing, but it can also set off, issues with conflict with other people around the table who have to make the decision. So now that you know this, the fact that you always think about people first, is you may need to change the way that you maybe relate this to others as well.
Okay.
Especially when you see that there is a point of contention coming up, and if you push it slightly a bit more, there could be conflict. So it's how you handle that conflict with people. And what I would also suggest is that you use this profile and share it with your colleagues, and that they do a profile so that you get all the profiles and that each of you can understand each other. Because if you have a low preference for something, and it's work that has to be done, because remember, this is not necessarily about skills, it's about your preference and the way you think. you might have to move into a specific domain that you're not comfortable with. Or you can get someone that's got a strong profile in a specific domain. For example, somebody that enjoys working with figures and facts and you don't. So understanding each other's profiles is very powerful because it makes a stronger team and it improves relationships amongst team members as well. So that's something that you can go back in the work environment and think about as well.
That's really great. So if, let's say, I have my entire team or all of my employees have this or do this assessment, would you then coach us through how we can interact with each other better, how we can better our relationships and our work environment?
Sure. And I think that's the benefit of starting with these assessments, is knowing each other's assessments and where your preference lies. What we also offer is a group profile. So if there's a team that does all their profiles, you actually get an average score where you will see what the team's average is. You put that up against your skills or your objectives, and you can see where you need to move towards. And then you decide who does what, and who has got a preference to do certain things and where you need skills as well. So a lot can come from these assessments as a first stab. So it's a very powerful tool to use in a team setting as well. So yes, that would add a lot of value to your team and to your organization.
I'm really excited to send my entire team for this.
Sure.
What is this? Is there a ideal size of team, or is there a limit to the amount of people that you can?
No, I don't think there's a limit on team members. I mean, I work with relatively small to medium groups, but I think if you're a team that is working on a specific project or in the long term, it would be advantageous to do this assessment as a start, just to get a feel for each other, how you think, which then results in your behavior as well. So if people want to change behavior, you need to understand your thinking first. So it's very powerful.
Great. Last question, would this help in hiring somebody new? How would I go about it if I wanted to hire a new employee?
Sure. What you would do is similar to assessment to what we've done, an adult assessment, which is the basic assessment. And then you'd go on to a specific assessment, which is a job profile assessment, which looks at what thinking and what skills people need for a specific job in your organization. And then you try and match that together and see if you can match a candidate to the position that you're offering.
Great.
Yeah.
I think that's it for now. I can't wait to sit and read through this in great detail. And thank you so much, Gerry.
Great.
This was great.
Stephanie, thank you. And it was a privilege, and thank you for your time. And to the audience, I'm hoping that you got some value out of this session. And please, if you'd like me to contact you with regards to the Neertling Brain Assessment, please feel free to do so at any time. Thank you.